Picture this. It's 2 in the morning somewhere in eastern Ukraine. No moon, temperature below freezing. You are a Russian soldier moving through open ground with your squad. You can't see anything past 20 meters. The darkness feels like cover. It feels like safety. And you're completely wrong. Right now, about 800 meters away, a Ukrainian sniper is watching you through a thermal scope, and you are not a person to him. You are a glowing white shape against a cold black background, like a lit cigarette in a dark room. He can see which one of you is carrying the machine gun. He can see who's in charge because that man keeps stopping to turn around. He can see that one of you, probably the youngest, is walking too close to the guy in front of him. He's been watching for 11 minutes. He knows your route. He knows where you slow down. He knows that this particular stretch of road is where your squad always bunches up. And none of you have the slightest idea any of this is happening. This is the documented reality of what Ukrainian snipers and drone operators have been doing to Russian infantry. Not just in 2022 or 2023, but right now in 2026 on a battlefield that has quietly become the most surveilled piece of ground in the history of warfare. Today we're going to break down exactly how this works, the technology behind it, the tactics, the coordination, and the real-world engagements that prove this isn't theory. This is the new standard of what combat actually looks like. Let's start with the one piece of technology that changed everything, the thermal scope. A thermal scope doesn't rely on light at all. It reads heat. Every living human body is a walking radiator, putting out roughly 98 degrees Fahrenheit of body heat at all times, whether it's high noon or pitch black midnight. Against a cold Ukrainian winter landscape, a human body glows like a lamp in a dark room. Range? Ukrainian snipers operating near Bakhmut were confirmed engaging targets at 900 meters or more with thermal optics. That's 9 football fields, nearly a kilometer of dead space, at night. With precision, that would be impressive in full daylight. And here is the part that the guys on the receiving end tend not to survive long enough to appreciate. There's almost nothing you can do about it. You can't turn off your body heat. You can try wearing thermal blankets. The Russian military has issued them, and we'll get to that in a minute. But that brings its own set of problems. Camouflage is useless. Darkness is useless. Smoke is useless. The trees you're hiding behind, useless. The only thing standing between a Russian soldier and a Ukrainian thermal scope is distance, speed, and luck. And on the eastern Ukrainian front in 2026, you tend to run out of all three pretty quickly. To understand how this system developed, you have to go back to Bakhmut. Small industrial city, population 70,000 before the war. By winter 2022 going into spring 2023, it had become the longest and bloodiest sustained urban battle of the entire conflict. A 9-month grinding nightmare that chewed through men and equipment on both sides in quantities that most Western military analysts found genuinely difficult to process. Russia sent the Wagner group. Wagner, for those unfamiliar, was a private military company funded by oligarch Yevgeny Prigozhin, staffed largely with recruited convicts who were promised pardons in exchange for going to the front. The tactics were, to use the technical military term, horrific. Human waves, small groups of convict recruits pushed forward to probe Ukrainian lines, draw fire, and die. The men behind watched where the shooting came from and tried a different angle. Ukrainian commanders estimated some Wagner units were losing around 500 men a day at the height of the battle. 500 men per day. To put that in perspective, that's the population of a small town every 24 hours in a battle over one mid-sized city that most people outside Eastern Europe had never heard of before 2022. Ukraine responded by sending in 2 of its most capable special forces units, the 3rd and 8th Special Purpose Regiments. Their job was not to hold ground. Their job was to make every inch of Russian advance cost more than Wagner was willing to pay. Their primary weapon was not artillery. It was not a tank. It was a sniper rifle with a thermal scope, a 2-man team, and a drone that never slept. The system worked like this. 2 men, shooter and spotter. You might think of the spotter as the backup, the assistant. He is not. The spotter is the intelligence officer of the pair. He carries a separate thermal observation device, tracks multiple targets simultaneously, calls ranges, logs positions, and manages the complete tactical picture while the shooter focuses entirely on the engagement. Together, 2 men could hold an entire city block under surveillance and make it effectively effectively impassable for any infantry moving through it. Above them, reconnaissance drones were flying the rubble constantly, carrying their own thermal sensors. The drone sees the building, the sniper sees the soldier, no blind spots. When Wagner infantry moved into a building, which they were doing constantly, probing, pushing, looking for gaps, the drone teams tracked them in. They fed coordinates and rough floor layout to the sniper pair covering that block. The sniper team now knows 6 men in the basement south side, 1 man at a second floor window facing east, 2 in the rear courtyard. They wait, they don't rush, they let the Wagner group settle in, relax, start to feel safe. And then 1 man at the window shifts his position to check toward the Ukrainian side and exposes himself for 2 seconds. 2 seconds is enough. The UK Ministry of Defense assessed in early 2023 that Ukrainian sniper fire from fortified positions in western Bakhmut had turned the approaches to the river crossing bridges into, and this is their exact assessment, a killing zone. Wagner fighters who crossed that strip of ground later described keeping their heads down and running and praying the sniper was looking somewhere else. Many of them ran and didn't make it. The psychological effect on Wagner leadership was visible and documented. Prigozhin, Wagner's founder, publicly admitted his forces were suffering catastrophic casualties. He filmed himself surrounded by dead fighters and screamed at the Russian Ministry of Defense on camera, a spectacle remarkable enough that it would have been inconceivable in any previous Russian military structure. That kind of public breakdown doesn't come from ordinary military setbacks. It comes from a tactical nightmare you can't solve with more men or more ammunition. Russia captured Bakhmut on May 20th, 2023. 9 months after the assault began, they had a ruin. No building standing, no population, no infrastructure, no strategic value that justified even a fraction of the cost. Estimated Russian casualties for the Bakhmut campaign, upwards of 30,000. Wagner Group essentially ceased to exist as a coherent military force within weeks of the battle's conclusion. Let's talk about what actually happens in the seconds after the first shot. Most people instinctively think of a sniper engagement in terms of casualties. 1 man goes down, the unit keeps moving, maybe they scatter, maybe they find cover. That's the Hollywood version, and like most of the Hollywood version of warfare, it's missing the point. The first shot doesn't just remove 1 soldier, it removes something far more valuable: shared awareness. Until that moment, the Russian group was functioning as a unit. Shared pace, shared information, some sense of coordinated order. The moment the round hits, that structure collapses. What follows isn't a coordinated response. It's every man making his own panicked decision at the same time. 1 man drops flat, another runs forward then slows down, as if movement itself might solve the problem. A third turns to search for the firing direction, standing upright in open ground, scanning instead of moving with purpose. No one can clearly lead. No one has a complete picture, and the more each person tries to save himself individually, the less the group can protect itself collectively. That is the point where a small engagement becomes a controlled breakdown. And here's the cruel detail about open terrain. Every survival instinct makes the situation worse. The man who goes flat, under a thermal scope, lying still makes him easier to track, not harder. A motionless body is a steady heat source with a confirmed position. The man who runs, in open ground, running doesn't just create distance, it creates a visible line of motion, a direction, a pace, a path that can be followed. The man who stops to search for the shooter, he's just created another stable target. From the Ukrainian side, every reaction by the panicking soldiers provides more information. A body dropping marks a position. A sprint reveals a route. A pause suggests confusion. What the soldiers are experiencing as desperate survival choices, the watching side is reading as real-time intelligence. The engagement doesn't end with the first shot. It begins. Some of the soldiers in these engagements do manage to break away from the exposed ground and reach the nearest tree line. And in that moment, they believe they've done the smart thing. Trees mean cover, trees mean broken sight lines, trees mean at least some chance to disappear. They're wrong. This is where Ukraine's integrated system reveals its real strength. The sniper created panic and forced movement, but the drone kept the engagement alive after that movement began. Instead of losing the target when the soldiers reached denser terrain, the Ukrainian side handed the fight from rifle pressure to aerial tracking. That handoff, sniper to drone, is what turns one contact into a complete kill chain. In documented cases from this type of engagement, a wounded or exhausted soldier reaches thin cover, tries to flatten himself under branches and brush. From eye level, he's concealed. The forest floor has shadows, fallen limbs, enough clutter to break visual shape. But from above, the drone has the advantage of angle and patience. Small posture shifts, slight branch movement, the path cut through vegetation, all of it visible from altitude. The drone doesn't rush, it adjusts slowly, holds position, closes only when the location is fixed. When the strike comes, it isn't because the soldier suddenly exposed himself. It's because the drone has already reduced his options to one pocket of cover, and that pocket has been identified. Another soldier goes deeper into the woods, tries to relocate rather than stay still. That choice looks smarter in the moment. Movement through trees feels less exposed than movement across open ground. But the drone follows the route from above, reading direction through disturbed vegetation. The man reaches a small depression, a hiding spot, a place to reset and wait. And that pause gives the operator the final confirmation. The forest didn't protect him, it contained him. Now, Russia isn't entirely unaware of this problem. You don't lose the number of men they've lost to thermal detection without eventually trying to do something about it. The solution they've been deploying at scale is the thermal blanket, a wraparound covering designed to contain body heat and help the wearer blend into the cooler nighttime background. The concept is sound in theory, but execution requires discipline, and discipline is exactly what undertrained Russian conscripts under fire tend to run short of. In a documented engagement near Lyman, a squad of Russian infantry moved toward Ukrainian positions wearing thermal blankets. The blankets worked in the sense that the drones couldn't easily pick up their body heat, but the blankets worked too well. The Ukrainian FPV drones didn't see bright spots anymore. They saw cold spots, dark patches moving through the foliage where warm foliage should have been. The Russian soldiers, trying to hide their heat, had accidentally turned themselves into obvious moving shadows. The Ukrainian 63rd Mechanized Brigade's commentary on this was, and I'm paraphrasing, that the funny occupiers put on their anti-drone raincoats and thought they were safe. The drones hit them anyway. This is the nature of the technological competition on this front. Ukraine develops a detection method. Russia attempts a countermeasure. Ukraine adapts. The adaptation cycle is faster than traditional military procurement because Ukraine has been building and iterating on the ground in real time with direct feedback from the battlefield. And while Russia was still trying to solve the thermal problem, Ukraine was busy making it worse. In August 2025, something happened that doesn't belong in the history of conventional warfare. It belongs in a category that didn't exist 10 years ago. A Ukrainian sniper from the elite Private, or Ghost, combined sniper unit set a new world record for the longest confirmed kill in combat history. 2 Russian soldiers eliminated with a single shot from a distance of 4,000 meters. That is 2.49 miles. For context, the average person with an unobstructed view can only see about 2.9 miles before the curvature of the Earth cuts things off. The targets never heard the shot coming. They almost certainly never would have. The weapon was the domestically produced Ukrainian Snipex Alligator, a 14.5mm anti-materiel rifle originally designed to disable armored vehicles, not target personnel. It weighs 55 pounds and stands about 6.5 feet tall, not exactly what you'd call portable, but at extreme ranges, the caliber matters more than the convenience. Here is what makes this shot genuinely historic. And it isn't the distance alone. The shot required a drone-based AI system to be feasible at all. The process, as described by the unit commander, involved shooters, spotters, AI operators calculating trajectories, and aerial observers filming and providing corrections. Without any component of this team, the shot would have been impossible. At 4,000 meters, the factors in play include wind, humidity, the rotation of the Earth, target movement, and the natural spread of the round. The shooter never actually saw his targets with his own eyes. All target data was relayed electronically through the drone system and the AI fire control interface. This was not a marksman looking through a scope at a man. This wasn't one man with a rifle. This was a human-machine team hitting a target 2.5 miles away that neither of them could see with their own eyes. As of February 2026, the private unit had reportedly eliminated nearly 1,000 Russian personnel personnel in the Pokrovsk-Mirnohorod area over the prior year. Let that number sit for a moment. 1 unit, 1 area, 1 year. Let's come back to where we started. 2 in the morning, open ground, a squad of soldiers who believe the darkness is protecting them. They're not wrong about the darkness. The darkness is real. The cold is real. Their camouflage is real. Everything they were trained to use as cover is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The problem is that none of it matters anymore. Because 800 meters away, through a thermal scope, they are not using cover. They are glowing white shapes against a cold black world. And above them, a drone that has been watching this corridor for 3 days already knows what they're going to do next. Because they've done it before, and the pattern has been logged and confirmed and handed to the person with the rifle. Modern warfare used to reward the side that could deliver the most firepower. This war is demonstrating something different. It rewards the side that can observe the longest, process information the fastest, and translate that information into precision action before the other side knows they've been found. That's the shift. And it's not a future development. It's not something that might happen. It's happening right now, on a front line in eastern Ukraine, tonight. The sky is watching, the patterns are being learned, and the soldiers who understand that, who move unpredictably, who avoid the habits that get mapped, who treat observation discipline as seriously as trigger discipline, are the ones who make it through. The ones who don't, well, the thermal footage speaks for itself. If this breakdown changed how you see this conflict, hit like, leave a comment with what surprised you most, and subscribe for more reporting that goes past the headlines and into what's actually happening on the ground. We'll see you in the next one.